Alright everybody, sorry I had to take a little bit of a break there. Now that we've got the top piece, like I said, mostly complete with the exception of the teeth, we're going to go ahead and, while that dries, this is already dry by now, we're going to go ahead and move to the bottom piece. Once again, as you can see, we got opposing pieces that have the soot. Make sure, okay, see that? On the opposite side, so when you place them, they can have that nice little decoration on the out towards the outer edge. On this one, we're going to have the 4 side pieces, 2 front, 2 back, one of them which includes the magnet, and our base for the middle. What we're going to do is you're going to start off by putting in the sides. If you notice, this has my little Weed Wizard logo in here. I'm going to go ahead and move the edges off, and we're going to start with the interior portion of this. Quick and easy, just pop that into place, making sure not to press too hard, get the things lined up. And you want to do both of these side pieces prior to doing the front and the back. Actually, you won't be able to do this side piece on the outer edge because there's nothing to grab onto until you do the first back piece. Magnet up, get that pushed in. Just want to get things lined up where it kind of pops in. Get in there. To go towards the inside. There we go. Get that pushed into those big holes. Now you can worry about getting things lined up to where it'll go into the base plate right there. Now you may have to do a little bit of pushing around. Wood does warp, as you can. I don't know if you can tell on this one, but you can see it's just a hair down. So we're going to have to just get that pushed up just a little bit to get that lined up with the hole. There we go. Just pops right on in. And we'll get those seated up. Pushing on the joints. Also make sure when you're pushing with the opposite hand or holding with the opposite hand, try and grab onto something nice and solid, so that way you aren't putting a whole lot of pressure on these other ones. Alright, now we'll go ahead and put these side pieces in, because we're going to need to get these put into place prior to putting on our front piece. That squeezing, get that popped right on in. Alright, now we can go ahead and do the front face plate. Work on getting those lined up, and you want to just kind of put these and wiggle it up, and then you're going to, because one problem is these things are going to want to jump around a little bit. So if you can get this put in first before you try and put it in the base plate, you'll be able to work with it a little bit better. Okay, get that. And one side, I'm going to go ahead and push that a little bit in. That way I can maintain control of that. Same thing with this. Go ahead and get that. Push that down and slide that in. Alright, now we can worry about the base plate holes. Once again, I'm going to have to push just a little bit as I'm applying pressure to the front face to get that put on. Push that in. Oh, snapped right on it. There we go. And make sure we put it down for a nice tight fit. Now we can go ahead and put on the front plate and the back plate. Now, the back plate, very important. This is why I always say, don't glue anything until you get it put together. This one has the 2 top posts right here, or 2 top holes. These are going to be the mounting points for your hinge pins. You want to make sure those go up, because if you don't pay attention, you can put that in backwards. You can see what I just did right there. Get that up towards the top, because your hinge pins, go ahead and pull one out, are going to sit right in here, so you can open and close your box. Okay, so now that everything's in together, go ahead and flip this bad boy over, and I always like to run a bead here on the bottom. So just like before, just like you're caulking a bathtub or some tile, if you've ever done any of that. Not too much, but not too little. You want to run it just so it's getting wet, and will actually soak into that wood. Now you want to go ahead, this one you want to give it a good squeeze on both sides, making sure that it seats up there nice and tight. These front plates aren't going to be affected by that. And once that gets just a little bit of time to go ahead and soak in, go ahead and run a bead right across the joints here. That should soak right in. That is that end grain. Make sure you get some on the outside piece there. And give that a few seconds to go ahead and soak in, and then give it a wipe up. Now you don't have to worry about these pieces quite yet, because when you glue in the teeth, that will actually glue in the top portion of this side piece and the front pieces as well. This is mainly to keep it in place. We'll go ahead and wipe that down now that it's had a chance to soak in. Get the under part of it as well. Some lint on there. And that one is good to go. Alright, so we'll go ahead and place that down. You can see this is sitting all nice and tight. There's a little bit of looseness up top here. Like I said, that's going to be fixed once we start putting in the teeth. Speaking of which,